Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Heini. I'm Heini, and this week I'm going to lead you through a practice that I do almost every day myself. It's a short sequence of movements just to look after the body and give some time for breathing amongst everyday life. Let's get started. For this practice, you don't need any props. You just need your practice space and yourself in comfortable clothes that allow you to move a little bit. And we're going to start from lying down on the belly. So bring yourself to lie down, and you could open your legs a bit wider apart if you want. And maybe bring your hands under your forehead so you have something to lean your head onto. Of course, you could also bring your head all the way down onto the mat, onto the floor if you prefer, or even turn one cheek onto the mat, onto the floor if that feels better. And then take 3 slightly slower breaths in and out, allowing the inhalations to slide down towards your lower back, out into your ribs, and into that space between your shoulder blades. If you're like me, there might be a lot of tension in the upper back. So I like to use the breath to open that space around and between the shoulder blades. Take one more breath, one more extra breath in and out. And then when you feel ready, slowly slide your hands onto the mat. They could be under the shoulders or maybe a bit wider apart. We're going to come into a cobra pose. With your next in-breath, slowly start to peel the chest off the mat. You could let your elbows open out to the sides. And you could stay here, sliding elbows, forearms onto the mat. So actually stopping in a Sphinx pose, a slightly more gentle back bend. Or if you wish, keep the weight on your hands and continue extending the arms. You come into a bigger back bend. I really like to do this after a long day of sitting. It just counters that closing on the front side that we get when we're sitting a lot. Just opening the full front line, from the fronts of the legs all the way up to the chest. Take another 2 breaths, sending these 2 breaths towards the chest. So now opening that chest space. And then with the next exhalation, release your chest back down, wherever you were in your back bend, and slide hands under the shoulders and bring yourself now onto hands and knees. Hands could be under the shoulders or they could be a bit wider apart. Knees could be under hips or they could be a bit wider apart. And we're going to do some cat-cow movements. I like to use the exhalation to move into that rounded back. So coming into the cat pose, exhale, rounding the back up to the ceiling, and then pausing there to breathe in, and breathing into that back space between the shoulder blades. With the next exhalation, open your chest. So coming into the cow pose, where we bring the spine back into a back bend, and we open the chest and pause there to breathe in. Again, sending the in-breath towards the chest. With your own next exhalation, again, round your spine, and you could tuck the tailbone under, maybe looking for some rounding in the lower back, even in the neck. Inhale. With your next exhalation, release your spine into that cow pose, into the back bend, opening the chest, possibly even looking forward or up towards the ceiling. Breathe in towards the chest. One more round. Exhale, move into the cat pose, rounding the spine, head coming down, rounding the neck. Inhale there, breathe into that back space. And exhale, open the chest, allow the spine to release into another back bend. And inhale there. And then as you exhale, try to find a neutral spine. You could move a bit from side to side, move the hands, move the legs. And we're going to come into downward facing dog, getting ourselves upside down. I like downward dog as a gentle inversion. So tuck your toes under and then lift your pelvis up. So you bring the weight onto your hands and feet now, finding this triangle shaped pose. And you could move your feet, you could adjust where your hands are, pedal the feet a bit, opening into the calves. I often have very tight calves, so I like to use downward dog to get a bit of a stretch in the calves and backs of the ankles. And then for 3 breaths, settle into that downward dog. Feel the grounding through the palms, the pelvis reaching up and back. Heels don't need to touch the floor, but have the idea that your heels are sinking down as well. And heavy head sinking down, so your neck is free here. Once you've had your 3 slow breaths in downward dog, the next exhalation, bring your knees back down onto the mat. And then we're going to transition to lie down on the back. So bring yourself into a seat, and then from your seat, just roll your back down. Bring your shoulders, your head down onto the mat. And leave your knees bent. You could rock the pelvis a bit from side to side. And from here, we're going to come into a twist. Now, this is the pose I like to do pretty much every day, even if I don't do the other poses. And you could either keep your legs next to each other, no crossing in the legs, or you could bring your legs into the eagle shape so that you leave your left foot down on the ground and then cross your right leg, your right thigh on top around the left thigh. And slowly, with both knees bent, let your knees, your thighs come down to the left side of your mat. Let your whole pelvis follow. And then open your chest. So the right shoulder doesn't need to stay on the mat. My right shoulder comes quite a lot off the mat. But you could still open your right arm out to the right side. But see how your shoulders feel. If the shoulders feel that this is painful, if they are not enjoying the open shape, you could also bring that right arm down next to the side, maybe the right hand resting on the belly. But especially after a long day of sitting, maybe on the computer, it's really nice to get this opening in the chest and shoulders. It also opens the side body. If you have tightness around the sides, then a twist can help with that tightness as well. Now remember to keep breathing. Take another 2 breaths in and out in your twist. And then after those 2 breaths, slowly, slowly, with a bit of core engagement, start to guide your legs, help your legs back up to the center. If you've had your legs in that eagle shape, release the crossing in the legs. And just you can rock the pelvis a bit from side to side. And we're going to find that twist on the other side. So same options. You could keep your legs next to each other, or you could cross your legs so that your left thigh, left leg goes now around on top of the right thigh, right leg. And then slowly, slowly bring your both knees and thighs down to the right side of the mat. And again, your left shoulder might come off the mat a lot. That's very fine. If it's very intense in the shoulder, maybe keep that left arm now down next to the side as you open your chest up to the ceiling. But you do have the option of also opening left arm further out to the side. Head and neck could turn to either side if you want to rest your head towards the right or the left side. And then just breathe here. I really love the twists because you so often can notice a big difference, quite a big difference between the right and the left side. So it's almost like a check-in point for the body, where or on which side of the body we might feel more tightness on a particular day. Again, let's take a couple more breaths in and out in this twist. And then after those couple of breaths, when you are ready, slowly with a slight core engagement, start to bring your legs back up to the center, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And if you had your legs crossed, uncross your legs. And again, rock the pelvis a bit from side to side, maybe even swinging the knees further out to the sides. The windshield wipers movement. Good, and then bring your legs back to the center. We keep the knees bent and we come into one more back bend. This is the bridge pose. You decide how high up or how low down you want to be in your bridge today. We keep arms down next to the sides. I like to turn my palms up to the ceiling, but you might also turn your palms different way. Inhale, and as you exhale, press the feet down and start to lift your pelvis, your back off the mat. And you might adjust the feet as you come up into your bridge pose. So it's another opening for the front line. Keep inner thighs gently engaged so we don't let the knees drop out to the sides. Keep your big toes grounded on the mat. And send another 2 breaths towards the front side. Make sure there's no pain in your back. If there is, you could always come a bit lower down in your bridge. Still keeping legs active. One more breath in and out. And then slowly, slowly release the back, release the pelvis down. And hug your knees in towards the chest. Here as well, you might rock a bit from side to side. You might cross your ankles. That might help hips to soften more. A counter pose for that bridge pose. Sometimes if I know the backs of the legs are really tight here, you could bring hands behind your thighs, your knees, and then lift your feet up into the air to give a gentle opening once more for the backs of the legs. We got that opening in downward dog already, but here it might be a bit more relaxed opening. But you're very welcome to keep hugging the knees as well. Take another 2 breaths in and out wherever you are. And then after those 2 breaths, slowly release your legs, your feet down. And you have a choice here. If you have time and you want to now relax a bit more, find your way into Shavasana pose and take maybe 5 minutes for resting. Or if this was just a quick practice and it's time to move on, slowly bring yourself up into a seated pose. So depending on the day, sometimes I have more time, and on those days I do take a longer Shavasana pose. But sometimes there's time for just a quick practice, and then I like to end the practice in a seat. Wherever you are, give yourself at least a few breaths, a few calm, slow breaths in and out. So let yourself end your practice in that calm pace and calm place. If you are closing your practice here now, bring your palms together in front of the chest and thank yourself for taking a moment to move and breathe, to look after yourself today. But like I said, if you are in your Shavasana pose and you want to continue taking it easy to stay in your Shavasana pose longer. Thank you very much for joining in. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining in. I really hope you enjoyed this practice. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. There will be more and more yoga related videos and other content. And I hope to see you very soon again. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.